Most souls are inevitably drawn to heaven, hell, or somewhere in between. But not all are so easily judged. Some rejected belief in anything at all, while others were both hero and villain. These are the souls death personally visits. Death listens to their stories and then decides their final fate. Will they find peace, punishment, or something else entirely? That is what you are here to decide. Tonight, you will listen to Andrew Smith's story. It is one full of love, betrayal, and regret. Everything is centered around a letter that was never delivered. Listen closely and decide his fate.
So, you are Death. I'm surprised we didn't meet long ago. Then again, I suppose it is time to answer for what I did. After all, I did steal Miller's life. I guess it started with the war. I lived a normal life until the day I was drafted during World War II. I knew I would die. In fact, we all thought that way. Every man in our unit wrote what we called the last letter home in case we didn't make it back. Most units let the military handle it, but we made a pact. If one of us fell, we'd deliver those letters personally. I remember watching Miller write his, every Sunday, without fail. Dear Mama, he'd start. Then a letter to his sisters. Finally, one to his girl, Sarah. Miller would read to us the letters she sent. Then he would tell us stories about her. He talked about how she volunteered at a hospital and was as beautiful as an angel. Listening to these stories helped drive away the horrors of war, if only for a moment. He was a good man. Me, I did things I'm not proud of. I saw a German soldier surrendering and shot him anyway. I looted bodies for valuables and spent the money on booze and women. I took stupid risks I knew I shouldn't, which put my friends at risk. One of these mistakes cost Miller his life. Miller, though, he stayed pure. He shared his rations with civilians. He even gave his blanket to a freezing kid. Somehow he managed to save enough money to buy an engagement ring for Sarah and still have enough money left to start a family. Since he died saving me, I felt it was my duty to deliver the letters, the ring, and the money to his family and Sarah after the war. Unfortunately, his family had already died in London during one of the bombings. In fact, they died even before he did. Bureaucracy. Then I went to see Sarah. I saw her at the hospital where she volunteered. Everything Miller said about her was true. She had this way of smiling that made you forget about the war. I told myself I'd give her everything the next day. I just wanted to talk to her one more day. Then another. I started telling her stories about Miller, the brave things he did. She liked hearing them. We'd talk for hours. Weeks passed and I fell in love. How could I give her the letters then? They were full of Miller's dreams about their future together. Instead, we started living them. I'm ashamed to say that I even used the ring he bought for her to propose. We married 6 months later. Then we went to America, just like he wanted to do in his letters. I tried to live a good life after the war. I went to college and became a doctor. I saved lives and I built houses for veterans. I put my girls through college. But Miller, he haunted me. Not like a ghost. More like a better version of myself I could never live up to. 70 years of marriage, 3 children, 7 grandchildren. I don't even know how many great-grandchildren. A lifetime of happiness built on betrayal. I'd wake up some nights, looking at her sleeping, wondering if I should tell her. But how do you tell someone you love that your entire relationship began with a lie? One of the hardest things besides not telling Sarah was the death of my son. My boy joined the army in '62, Vietnam. Before he left, he asked me what war was really like. I told him to write letters home, lots of letters. Then I went to my study and cried for hours. Every anniversary of their deaths, I'd read the letters when I was alone and drink too much. Sarah would find me in my study crying. She would ask what was wrong. I'd just mumble something about war memories. Wasn't wrong, I suppose. Still, I was a good husband. I loved her completely, and our life together was beautiful. Sarah died last spring, never knowing the truth. I know I stole something precious. Miller's last words to the woman he loved. Used his stories to win her heart, but I also gave her a lifetime of love. I've had 70 years of happiness and 70 years of guilt. Maybe that's a fitting balance. Does that count for anything?
So what is your judgment? Should Andrew Smith be allowed to join his wife and son in heaven? Or was his betrayal enough to earn him a place in hell? Was the life he lived after the war penance enough? Or should he spend time in purgatory before being allowed to join his family? What is your verdict?